Greetings, Pukus! This is Matt Harpatrick. On May 1st, 2026, there were two anime movies that were released on the same day. There was a CGI animal farm movie that was so disrespectful to the book, I happily skipped this abomination. And a Skydance Animation movie on Netflix. But so far, Skydance Animation is not doing a good job on welcoming newcomers like myself as the new player in the animation field. On a side note, did you know that Animal Farm almost became a Netflix movie? Maybe for a bit they swapped it with this one. It's Skydance Animation's third anime movie, and so far, they already received 2 strikes out of the baseball field. They released their first movie, Luck, which ended up being a forgettable Pixar copycat on Apple TV+, followed by Spellbound, being a terrible Disney ripoff that I'm still calling it the real Bad Wish movie. So as you would have guessed, I wasn't really optimistic for Swap or any of Skydance's future anime movies, with their last 2 movies having no identities but to plagiarize Pixar and Disney, and there have been some speculations that Skydance Animation is not much of a fun place to work on animation. But when it comes to Swap the movie, all that I know is that it went through several changes on the movie title from Powerless to Puku to now Swapped, and this was directed by Tango co-director Nathan Greno. But when we look over Swapped as a whole, can it actually deliver something fresh or original, or is it another ripoff that everybody's just going to forget about it? Welcome to another episode of The Wonder Reviews. I guess it's time to see what freaky scenarios awaits us. This is my review of Swapped. In a world filled with mystical creatures like gerbil creatures called Pukus and green birds called Javins, one Puku named Ollie, played by Michael B. Jordan, is trying to forage some food for the rest of his kind, but the problem is that the Javelins have invaded their habitat and took away their rations. When he tries to scare them away, he fell into a hole and landed on a magical leaf called a pod, transforming him into a Javin bird. As he tries to get another pod to change back, he comes across another Javin voiced by Juno Temple, and she accidentally turned into a Puku. Now the two must settle their differences and head above the Great Waterfall for some magic pods to change back. So already, the film's premise didn't win me over. It all sounds like your same old Freaky Friday story where the main characters switch bodies and they had to adapt to their new bodies before they turn back to normal. It's already been done to death, and it sounds even more generic than the previous Skydance movie. In fact, they already did this dumb gag before in, again, the previous movie. But, in a rather shocking turn of events, they did not turn this whole movie into a Freaky Friday comedy. Instead, they actually experimented the magic pod to have the other animals to turn to anything they like. And the scenes with Ollie and Ivy switching bodies isn't really the main focus at all. It's about the Pukus, Javins, and the other animals who are stuck inside the valley from the outside world, and they're trying to find some food and space for their own kind. The world building is intriguing, and unlike the movie Luck, it's easy to follow. They explain that the other creatures used to be one big peaceful community and they were protected by giant beings called the Does. But when a firewolf scared away the Guardians and trapped the animals in a closed circle, everyone has been struggling for survival. This is where the interactions between Ollie and Ivy start becoming genuine. They don't see eye to eye very well, but they only have each other by sharing their knowledge. And they soon understand what both of their communities are going through, and the best option they have is teamwork from everybody. With the old switcheroo having the smallest screen time and focusing on the relationship between the communities, the story's message becomes well executed. Now, does that make it one of the best movies of the year? No, it's not the same league as Hoppers per se. One is that the humor swap is not really funny. It's not cringy or anything, it's just that I don't remember laughing at anything in this. Plus, the movie can still have some tiresome cliches like the overprotective parents, the fake out deaths, and the rivals squabbling on and on until they eventually become friends. There are times that they do throw out some expedition and copy Disney like Brother Bear involving Ollie's transformation, but it's not forcing itself to copy another movie or company. I don't know if they got a new manager or they gave those studio execs a backseat, but it feels like the director and writers had a little more creative control when making this. The Freaky Friday story is not that interesting, but the animal world building and their own lifestyle makes the film well written on its own, and you understand what the Pukus, Javins, and everyone else are going through. If the story's execution managed to impress me, is it possible to make the Valley characters likable? Some of them, yeah, but there will be a few that you may forget about instantly. But what makes the characters interesting is by giving their respective homes and species some actual layers. With the Puku, Ollie, he is considered a curious creature where his curiosity ends up getting him into trouble. But they can lead him to some wondrous discoveries and ideas to help him. For the Jav and Ivy, she is very responsible to look after her siblings since her parents passed away a long time ago, and she's trying to help her flock because they have been running low on food. When both of them swap transformations, they not only learn about what is happening to each other's home, but how do they adapt, such as flying or sensing foods in other animals. Although they often argue, they do realize both of their communities are struggling and they must work together to survive. There's Boogle, a lonely fish who wants to make friends because he's stuck in the pond with nowhere else to go. So he decides to help Ivy and Ollie to find some magic pods so that he can turn into a land creature. I would explain more about him, but I can't say because that would be major spoilers. But then there's the villain of the film, the Firewolf. A far better threat than the Twizzler Tornado from the last movie. He is a selfish tree wolf that was responsible for scaring and trapping the animals, stealing their food, and he can spread wildfires everywhere he goes. His presence alone shows that he is a menace to nature. There are other characters like the tree wolves and Zoes, but they don't really appear a lot. Ivy's siblings are chatty where they don't like taking orders from their sister, and all these parents are just the overprotected guardian with the disappointing father and the caring mother that's just doing the bare minimum. So out of all the animation styles given to us by Skydance Animation, the animation in Swap is surprisingly the best looking animation they ever crafted. Even people who liked or didn't like their previous movies can agree that the company can design some good quality animation. But in this one, there's something about this artwork that just feels enchanting. The character designs are so amazing. Every creature in the valley are a hybrid between an animal and some natural or mineral elements such as rock bears, tree wolves, root snakes, and more. There's a lot of extra textures on the Javin's leafy feathers or the timber on the wolves. What's even cooler is that they use their look to blend into the background, which gives the valley itself a lot of life than expected. A good example is in the opening when Ollie goes underwater and sees some unique sea creatures. But it's not just that, there's also the Puku's home and the Javin's nest, Javin Rock, where we see how the creatures collect food, how do they live, and adapt in terms of unprecedented circumstances. The only exceptions are the Zoes, which are giant tree beasts that move slowly and attach their roots for some friction. And the visual makes the valley a colorful place. There's the use of lighting whenever the Zoes create a magic pod, and especially the wildfires whenever the firewall burns up everything it touches. Another cool element in the animation is some of the scenes when the Puku use their nose. Their sense of smell allows them to uncover any foods or other animals through infrared vision. The forest itself can still feel like your everyday forest, but with the animals literally becoming one with the forest, it makes the backgrounds very creative. I don't know why, I don't know how, and it could be the fact I was never really a fan of the other two Skydance movies, but after watching this, I think I don't mind coming back to Puku Island or Javin Rock. Swap is Skydance Animation's first ever good anime movie they ever made. It may have some flaws like a couple of movie cliches and weak comedy, but it is still decent with a few likable characters, the animation is stunning, and has a good moral about community teamwork. If you enjoy nature anime movies like Hoppers or Fern Gully, then you will like this. Now that this movie caught me by surprise, I'm slowly becoming optimistic about the upcoming Ray Gun movie, but I am still proceeding with caution. This is the first time I can call a Skydance movie a Skydance movie instead of a Disney ripoff. If they're really dedicated on making more anime movies, they should at least follow Swap's direction instead of Lux or Spellbound's. But this is still a wait and see. Either way, I still prefer Swapped over the other two movies. And that's why I decided to give this movie a B-. I'm Mad Hair Patrick. Now if you excuse me, I'm going to do some scuba diving. Thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed this, check out these other videos, or feel free to like, comment, and subscribe for more upcoming reviews and other projects. I'll see you soon.